Drum roll, please. Good evening. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we have an interesting analysis here. First off, educate, empower, and enlighten. That's what we're about to do. Educate out of limiting beliefs in victimhood, empower into purpose and potential, and enlighten into our true nature. Now, this is the opposite of any human's nature. Like, we're gonna get into it, but yeah. So this is, you might have seen this before, my 600-pound life, which is an insane amount of weight to just have accumulated. Okay, here we go.
First thing I figure out when I wake up in the morning is that I feel blessed and shocked at the same time. Because it's almost unbelievable that I woke up. The pain I feel when I wake up is all over. And I feel sometimes I can't take or live this life one more minute.
Like, this is insane. To even have gotten that big. He looks like just a sack of lard. He looks like Jabba the Hutt, the real life Jabba the Hutt.
I can't take or live this life one more minute. To carry all this weight, it's physically draining, mentally, emotionally taxing.
He can't even, it's not funny, but it's funny. He can't even get out of bed. And his stomach is just insanely gluttonous. And you gotta ask yourself, how could, one, you let yourself get that big, but people around you are literally watching this progression over time, and there's, there should be alarms going off, and that this person needed help, and unfortunately no one cared about him enough to say maybe you should stop eating and have a change in your diet and do this and that.
It's not a pain or life I wish on anyone, because I can't do anything. I can't do anything for anyone, especially myself.
Like, this is incredible. I didn't even see the ends of his stomach at first. I'm still like finding new parts of his stomach. This is crazy. And yeah, what he's saying, he can't do anything for him or himself. One of the great things about earning and living up to your potential is, and being abundant, right, is eventually you provide not only for yourself, but you're in a place where you can provide for others, which is a great space and nurturing, spiritually nurturing our human desires to be abundant and be able to provide for someone else and live to a higher calling. But if you're gluttonous and you overindulge in certain things, and overindulgence basically means lack of discipline. So if you have a lack of discipline, there's no way you're gonna be able to be in that abundant position, because it also comes with a mindset shift.
So I am completely dependent upon my fiance, Catherine.
Robert Beeschel is a 41-year-old from New Jersey, weighing 842 pounds, which makes him one of the heaviest people to have ever been featured on the show.
Oh my God, he was trying to beat the record. The show's called My 600. This gentleman is 850 pounds.
Getting dressed and ready for the day. Me or his mom come in to figure out what he wants to eat.
You had asked me the other day to get food pasta. And you want pierogies?
If they have them, yeah. Okay.
Okay, anything else?
They're really good bread there. Italian bread, please? Yeah.
How many, Ron? 2 loaves?
2 loaves. Yeah, that'd be fine. No vegetables, right?
2 loaves. Who did? I gotta know who this lady
No
is.
vegetables, Ron.
No vegetables. No green or red. You know, I like it.
I know.
Done with
And then he said no vegetables.
every time you're online. Privacy ad blocker is completely dependent on other people to get him through the day, and that includes his daily meals.
Do you have the consequences? That simple pleasure of eating.
And here's the thing too, instead of being able to provide for these people around him, and in this case the women around him, he's now a burden. Now he's a burden on, you could say, the individuals around him, but really society in general. Because if we're all in a position to provide for ourselves and someone else, right, we would all be okay. But instead, and this is the case with human nature, there'll always be these sort of archetypes. Instead, we have there's a population that would rather not work, would rather not provide in the ways that matter to society, and there's a population that would rather be a burden upon society rather than a virtue. And this gentleman is experiencing that, and that's why we saw him tearing up and crying in the first, it wasn't even a minute yet.
As bad as it was for me, it just made me happy. But then afterwards, I would start to question myself why I eat that much. When I was a baby, I was born with a club foot with almost permanent hearing loss. My club foot eventually was corrected. When I was 2 or 3 years old, then I was able to walk normal again. But you started very young, because when I was 6 years old, we moved out from North Jersey to South Jersey. It's definitely something new for me. It's something I never experienced before in my life.
Food gets Robert through everything in his life, and at this point, he has developed an emotional dependence on it.
But then things got bad for me one summer. At 9 years old, I was house for lunch, and one day, I was put in a very bad situation with him. We were watching TV, and his grandparents weren't at home, and he ended up forcing me into a sexually molesting situation. And after the molestation occurred, the boy threatened me and basically said if I told anybody that he would kill me the next time he saw me. So I was very scared for my life.
It's evident that Robert's rough childhood is what led to him finding solace in food, and he hasn't been able to let go of his addiction either.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. The unfortunate thing is when you start to develop these bad habits, you see habits also apply to the application of our mental faculties. We might use imagination, some people might call it manifestation, our ability to visualize and be in a situation and not actually be in the situation to the point where we could feel a physical reaction to where we are in our minds. And we develop the bad habit of using these faculties, and unfortunately when that starts young, the more concrete it becomes, and he fell into the habit of eating instead of, you know, a more fruitful venture and habit, basically, instead of, you know, something that did not lead him to become 800 pounds.
As an adult.
In January of my senior year,
Because we all experience some type of trauma, but in the end, if we all experience it, right, that's, at the end of the day, that's called life. Like, life happens to everyone. It rains on everyone. The wind blows on everyone. But it's about what we do after that and where we set our mind continually after the fact. Plenty of people have been, you know, in that situation, but, you know, they're not 800 pounds. They might have developed similarly a negative habit, but not particularly this one. It's very unfortunate.
my father had a heart attack. I would eat, be depressed, and a lot of stuff just seemed like it was about to explode in my house. Like things were. Chris was 3.5 years old, and we ran to the hospital. We came in.
Let's speed this up a little bit, y'all.
The doctor pronounced he was dead. Felt like my world crashed down, just crashed right down.
But things weren't over just yet, because Robert's life threw one curveball at him after the other.
I met Rob about 14 years ago. Rob Sauce didn't bother me. He was such a fun person to be around. It never really occurred.
Went out, you're bowling, go to the movies, all stuff girls do. But I was hiding out. I really hated my cat.
Our relationship definitely changed because, we went from having a limited life to basically no life. And I believe myself to an extent, I should have tried harder and made him, lose weight.
Yes, like that's exactly it.
I was 36, wearing 700 pounds, and lifting a really heavy leg.
Robert kept gaining weight, but he didn't care.
36, 700 pounds. It's like, how could you be with someone for so long and report yourself to care about them and love them and not enforce something that would be beneficial? Like, we're not talking about, like, oh, let's go dig for oil in the West, right? Look for gold. We're talking about, hey, you can do some cardio every now and again. You can stop ordering 2 loaves of bread. And number one, I'm going to stop taking this order. The things I'm going to be feeding you are going to be ultimately beneficial. They're not going to increase and continue to be a detriment to your health. Why would I keep stuffing you with negative things? We have to pay attention to people around us. Moreover, the people that would allow us to destroy ourselves and not say anything.
That was the only thing that ever made him feel better.
Damn, see, and that's his mom. And I think they said his fiance, which is incredible. And, like, look at the condiments, a bunch of fried stuff, bread, French fries. Why are you even feeding him these things? This is the worst example of love, quote unquote, right, that I think one could ever experience. Very well. Thank you. Let me know if my mic is echoing. Yeah, this is the worst example of love. Would you do it for the love? Because how can you say you love someone you're watching them smoke cigarettes, consume alcohol, dangerous levels, consume food on dangerous levels? Obviously, there are some things that happen in their life, and they're reacting to these things with negative habits. Look at this nonsense.
And this is Rob's life.
I call the wings, that wins.
But nothing stops him from eating. Food is killing him and taking our future. I know Rob wants to keep the promise he made to me to lose the weight, but he's only gotten bigger.
The food is killing him, but you gave it to him. And you watching him eat all this.
And now he's to the point where I don't know if he can survive much longer. I want to have a family with him, but I've never seen him this bad.
I'm full, but this is just too good.
Robert is only happy when he sits down to eat, and his family is growing more and more concerned about his health now.
If I keep continuing to behave like this, I won't be able to function much longer. Unless I make the changes.
Like, this is way too late to be concerned about his health. This is way too late.
My life's only headed one place. I do feel close to death. I feel like I'm knocking on death's door. If I don't change.
His fiancée,
This is
Catherine, is desperate for Robert to
crazy.
find help so they can start building their life together. Because for now, everything is on pause because...
You know that there's a specific 2,000-year-old...
Yeah, everything's on pause because he can't get out of bed.
Alright, you in? Alright.
I'm going to do
This
a lot
is
of
crazy.
and praying that he'll come through it. I'm turning him over to God and Dr. Nizardin, and I'll pray for both of them.
But the journey is already proving to be a struggle, and they aren't even on the road yet.
So it's an all or nothing deal for us. If we're going to do this, we have to move our whole life down there. And that's so scary. Because we're going to be completely on our own in Houston. But thankfully, our friends Chip and Sandy are going to go with us to help us at least get down to Houston and settle us in. Because we're constantly
There since
Alright, roll back for a minute. Okay. And then we have to find a bed for him soon. Because he's hurting too bad right now. I'm coming around.
even now, Catherine.
Man, I don't even. This is just crazy on its own. You don't even need to analyze. This is just.
This way before we can fit in places.
Even finding a hotel room has been a struggle for Catherine because of Robert's weight.
I mean, the amount of burdensome that this man is astounding. They had to put him. She had to rent a U-Haul truck to move to. I guess they're moving to go somewhere and use the entire car to get this man onto the highway. This is just an incredible. How could you ever start a family? Like, what would be the. Like, there's no discipline, there's no anything. It's like a family should be the last thing on your mind right now. And if you really love someone, you wouldn't, one, continue to stuff them with unhealthy foods and watch them become a blimp. But two, you would encourage them to do things that are healthy for them, even if they got upset and they felt and they took it the wrong way. Because at the end of the day, this gentleman, I believe he passed away while filming this episode, which is insane. Right? At the end of the day, what matters is the truth. And truth is really love. And if someone receives it the wrong way, because it's true and ever present, eventually they'll understand. Right? That's why as kids, right, we might get upset when our parents give us correction, but eventually we work up the experience and the experience of life and situations to see that our parents' words have came true. So the same way, someone should have sat this gentleman down and, said, look, I know you love this, I know you love that, but you got to be able to walk first before you start enjoying food again. This is crazy.
And that only adds to their stress after the long journey.
That's weird. That's weird.
Well, then you sleep in it, and I'll just sleep on the floor.
I think it's full.
No, that's not a full bed.
No, who's the table?
Can't move it. Where am I supposed to move it? Just stay here. I'll sleep on the floor.
No.
Yes. I'm too tired.
You're gonna sleep in bed with me.
No, I can't.
Because this is a double, that's why. Isn't it?
I mean, we barely got into a queen together. Can I put you in bed?
It's like, bro, what are you mad about? No, she can't. She can't fit on the bed.
Fine. Okay.
And that leads to a lot of arguments.
It's too big. Too small. You're too big.
But we're not moving any faster than we did yesterday. Because of the constant stops to eat or take bathroom breaks. So we're gonna have to find another hotel tonight. But Rob's already got breakfast in the van. It's a little cold, but I mean...
Yeah, this is sad. Like, true family, true friends, man, they would not let you. And those people are rare to find. A true friend would say, if you're going to continue doing this, you have freedom. You have free will, right? If you're going to continue doing this, there's nothing I can do to stop you. But I'm not gonna watch you destroy yourself at the same time, right? And that's where we might create some space between individuals, but to support this kind of behavior is just truly evil. Truly. And another interesting thing is that we have to look at is the state of the modern world. Like, it's so convenient, and we don't even realize how convenient our lives are and how easy we have it. It's so convenient for someone to die or experience a quote-unquote traumatic event and, you know, be able to overindulge in food of all things. We have this extreme amount of comfort to the point where we're developing new problems based off of convenience and the level of just hubris that we've accumulated up to this point. I mean, just think, in the world wars, right, people were dying left and right, but you still had to wake up, you still had to do your work, you still had to go to work, you still had to, you know, fight the war. You couldn't just, oh, I'm depressed and sad and, you know, I'm gonna eat. Like, that's unbelievable. The answer is, I'm gonna eat, and I'm so sad, and I'm so just comfortable and complacent that of all things, I'm going to, and this is the definition of first world problems, of all things, I'm going to over consume fried foods, white breads, soups and sauces, of all things, and no vegetables. First world problems. Undisciplined and just unpurposeful. So distracted.
This man loves cold, fast food and whatnot anyway, so he'll be okay, but things happen.
An entire emergency team has to be called to take Robert to the car, and he immediately turns to food to tune the pain out.
Hi, doctor. How you doing? No, we're just on our way. I'm just having a lot of pain. I actually was so, and I mean, like, nothing got hurt real bad, but I'm all bruised up. Like, going up my leg.
I'm all bruised up. And this is, I did a short about a similar thing on Instagram. It was this super overweight child. And you have to ask yourself, who let them get that big? This is a grown man, but the video was a child. You know, why would you, the lack of discipline and consistency, you know, why would you let them stuff their face knowing it's a negative thing? This is also the problem with the first world, modern state of Western society, is this idea of acceptance and that we shouldn't discriminate. Discrimination is absolutely a healthy practice. Why? Because you discriminate against negative things, and you discriminate against overindulgence and gluttony and these other character destroying, burdensome habits.
So my toes, like, there's definitely, like, bruising and swelling, and it's just, you know, laying down the whole time. It's just a little rough on me.
Just a little rough on me.
There, and get Rob admitted. And hopefully this will be the start of his new life.
Robert Bouchard is shown up here shortly. His weight is unknown, but he's been as heavy as 800 pounds. So I'm concerned how his body is holding up. But he's already called asking for a painkiller, so I'm hoping he doesn't have addiction to that, as well as
are going to cut you off from the painkillers. Okay. Because the rate and amount you're taking is going to kill you.
The first thing that Dr. Now is concerned about is Robert's heavy usage of pain medicine.
She's working hard for you.
She's working overtime.
Damn.
This is the girl I have to marry. I can't let her go. She's my everything, doctor.
Yeah, if
if you heard anything that was true, that was facts. You cannot let her go because just the fact. Maybe you should because she let you get that big. I don't know.
Robert is in far worse shape than I've seen in a while. So we have a lot of work to do with him and very little time to do it. His body is barely hanging on at this point. But we'll do everything within our power to get him to a healthier place and try to save his life.
He also lets Robert know that if he doesn't take his health seriously at this point, he's not going to have very long to live.
Robert has been in the hospital.
I mean, this is just sad. Like, he doesn't have any male friends to tell him, like, suck all this shit up, pause, to tell him, like, yeah, this happened, bro, but, like, so what at the end of the day? Like, do you want a family or not? Like, life is about, for some, it might be about, life is about really family and longevity, having a dynasty and, you know, people around you who love and care about you and want to see you level up and making an impact on the world. It's like, at the end of the day, we all have to grow, progress, and handle the things that come at us, because they only make us stronger at the end of the day. But one thing we cannot do is collapse and fold under the pressure that, you know, everyone is experiencing or has experienced at some point. But yeah, this is just crazy, the amount of first world problems we have. With new solutions come new problems.
For a couple of days now, and we have run a number of tests on him, and there are some concerning issues that we are finding. The biggest one being the amount of painkillers he had in his system.
Obviously, there's numerous problems.
The highest I have ever seen, and that alone
Is Robert?
some of this kids have been to die. But he still has a long way to go before he is out of the woods.
Before we got down here, I was a little nervous because you can put somebody in an institutionalized setting all you want.
It is crazy that, like, you would turn to evoking medical bills upon yourself. You know, you need a doctor to tell you, like, dude, does he really, at this point, does he really need to go to a doctor to tell him what might be the best route to take to start losing weight? Like, anything at this point is going to help. And it's like, damn, instead of being disciplined and, you know, having uncomfortable conversations, we'd rather wait until, frankly, it's too late and things are way out of control and get surgery. Think of how convenient that is, right? Being able in the modern world to instantly lose weight and instantly shed this subcutaneous fat instantly off your body with in exchange for money. You know, rather than being disciplined and having routines based around longevity, we were able to say, well, I'll just let it go, right? I'll just, you know, hope for the best rather than act with intelligent intent. I'd rather hope for the best, and then if it gets too bad, I'll just go to a doctor who'll cut it off me. Bada boom, bada bing, right? That's convenience.
But this surgery can be very high risk, and we have to be extremely careful with Robert because his body has been pushed to the limit for so long. So this procedure needs to remain as simple as possible, and we need to complete it as quickly and as safely as possible.
What the?
So frustrated with ads on YouTube. I was watching more commercials than content. Privacy.
Yes, because we're not going to allow him to fall back into the habit of using pain medication like he was.
Another point of concern is is Robert's dependence on painkillers, but Dr. Now hopes that he will be able to push through it.
Hey, Mr. Bishop, how are you?
Alright,
Are you feeling pain or discomfort?
yeah.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you
It's like
say?
a 9 or 8.
A 9 or 8. Alright, well, let me get you taken care of, okay?
Today's been the worst recovery so far. It wasn't that bad at first. Today, the pain is like...
You know, he want them pills. He want them. He said 9 or 8. He said 8 or 9. 9 or 8. Man, this is crazy. And yeah, you really gotta be observant. You know, when someone is willing to be around you and, you know, not speak up in spirit of the truth and just let you or someone they're close to, someone they supposedly love, destroy themselves. This is not a true friend, or, you know, they might have good intentions, right? But that's not always what we need. Someone else's good intentions in order to, you know, seem a certain way or not seem one way, right? They don't want to upset you or rock the boat. It's about true intentions. And we all know certain things are good for us, certain things are bad for us over a period of time. And of course, some things might be held to be healthy within moderation. And it's all about to which degree, you know, you want to live. Do you want to be average, or, you know, just, you know, an okay life, right? Or do you want to strive for more? And that's going to take more discipline. And it's a beautiful thing to have someone hold you accountable, someone who truly cares about you and doesn't want to see you settle for mediocrity and hold you to that, you know, consistently over the years.
Call Dr. Now for now, just monitoring.
Alright.
Anything else I can do for you?
Yeah, he want the
The pain
pills.
medication is getting the best of him right now.
We had Robert on minimal painkillers, and he wasn't happy with the limits we put on him. And once we started to take him completely off, he got so upset that he tore his sutures open just so he could get them again. But it is extremely important that he gets back to walking again. Because if he doesn't, then his body will start to request. So we have dropped all the plans for follow-up surgery to remove his other lymphedema mass.
In the 5th month, Robert is still at the hospital and is struggling with his dependence on pain medication more than he ever has before.
So today we get... Because if he doesn't, he's going to end up back in very dire place. But if he won't do what he needs...
You're nasty to everyone, especially me.
Okay, you're trying to make you look bad in front of people.
I don't try to make you look bad. I'm just trying to get those facts right that you're not getting right. Do the leg exercises. I brought your stupid exercise bar. You didn't touch it once.
You know I love you.
Yeah, right. If there's ever been a time I doubt you, it's now.
Good.
No, just go away.
You should have doubted him about 400 pounds ago. Like, it's just too late. And at this point, you've helped him. And this is what we don't realize, the concept of time and hypnotic rhythm. At this point, it's just too late. Like, you've helped him develop this habit of the lack of discipline. Lack of discipline is also a habit as well. It's called procrastination. And he's procrastinated to cater to his health for so long. And he's so used to these meals and the cooking and the foods and, you know, having it this particular way and these particular foods that at this point he would need to go down to Brazil, do Mother Ayahuasca, and literally have his brain rearranged to realize
and see a vision of his death to realize, to be able to change his habits at this point, or join the Marine Corps. But at this point, you should have been disappointed in him way before this.
No, you said your piece. No.
I didn't say my piece.
And Olivia, you don't think you said anything wrong to me. You have been nasty jerk lately.
You're not asking your spouse?
Yeah, sometimes not like you. You're every day now.
No.
When somebody flipped the switch on you, you are not Rob anymore.
The worst part is that things between him and Catherine are extremely tense.
We're still having issues with Robert. And I think the situation is that when he arrived, so it was, search, make it, he came.
$5.
Oh my
That
goodness.
is all it takes to make a difference in this election.
You do it without them.
Not to mention the doctor now has noticed Robert's lack of progress and the part that his painkiller addiction is playing in all of this.
So we have people coming by today to take you to your long-term care facility. It is unfortunate that we have to send you there, but you've been here to...
And it's crazy that in this gentleman's case, he's at a point where he might as well be dead, right? He's laying in bed all day and he wants painkillers to, essentially be in this out of mind, out of body, type of experience, to be numb, essentially, and just so lethargic and idle. You might as well be dead, like you're laying in a casket. And it's an interesting concept that the conscious mind wants to partake actively, right, and actively experience this state of, being close to what might feel like death, right? He's taking painkillers and he's just completely inactive all day. Look at his eyes when he's looking at this doctor. He did. His eyes are so low. And it's so hard for him to breathe. Like, he might as well be dead. And it's an interesting concept that we want to, experience these states of mind, and when we develop a certain perception about ourselves, the things we'll do to enact a sense of feeling or hurt, pain, or just feeling numb, which would be the extremes, the two extremes in that scale, right? We want to feel pain, like it might do something to our wrists, or we want to feel completely numb. And it says something about just not living at your potential and not fulfilling the things you're supposed to be doing on this earth, because we all have a purpose, and depression is really a symptom of not being aligned with that purpose.
But you've been here too long and you aren't doing what you need, and that has to change, okay?
I feel very, my skin underneath is starting sores and the rubbing of the skin.
I'm sorry to hear some of those things, but you still need to get up and walking, and you don't seem to...
It's like you're in a hospital, like, why are you still complaining? Like, and this is an unfortunate thing too. His mind is so aligned with making excuses, so he wants to hold on to, Tony Robbins would say, or another motivational speaker, they would say he wants to hold on to his story. And that's to say that the factors and circumstances and scenarios that led him, or that he would report led him to the circumstance, he wants to hold on to those excuses, basically that victim mentality. He wants to hold on to these things, so in his mind it justifies him, not fulfilling his purpose, not having a family, not being married yet, because you need to run a U-Haul truck, and he's the only person in the car to, get across state lines. You need to go to a special doctor, and for him to complain to even more, it's like your insides are like, duh, like that's why you're there in the first place.
Realize how dangerous this is getting. If you continue to refuse to do what you need, your situation is going to start to get worse again, Robert. So your new facility is going to be your last.
Brother. Your situation's going to get worse, brother.
It's going to start to get worse again, Robert. So your new facility is
he said Robert.
going to be your last chance. If you don't start doing what you need there, then there's really nothing more we can do to help. Before you can begin, you walk in pretty good distance, right?
Well, only somebody followed me in a wheelchair.
Somebody will walk.
Yes, I was never getting up freely on my own. This is more of a leg problem, not me wanting to do this problem.
Just stop with excuses and get out of this bed.
I'm Colin Farrell and I play Oz.
Amen.
Watch The Penguin with Max on YouTube Prime Time.
When Dr. Now comes in.
See, now this is the type of gentleman Robert needed in his life. Stop with the excuses and just get up and do it. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters, is the result, not why you couldn't do something or why you did, right? Those both might serve as, we might say, external motivations. But at the end of the day, the result and the person you become is what matters.
To speak to Robert one-on-one and make him understand what his problem is.
Right now, you need to smoke as much as you can, as far as you can. You've been in this bed for too long, okay? And things need to change, and they need to change now. Or your situation will get...
And the thing about, putting your faith and trust in external factors like a doctor or a medical facility is that he took his mindset with him, and just this negative, energy about him, because he wants to be dead psychologically, because he's so down in the dumps and wanting to feel numb. His soul is in great turmoil, and a medical facility, the greatest doctor can't fix what's up here. They can only threaten you with what might happen if you don't start walking, right, doing some leg exercises, because you're so big. That's all you need to do in bed. He took his lethargic and this attitude of not wanting to actually get better, but trying to see how he might become more comfortable because of these excuses. He took that mindset there with him, and like I said, the greatest practitioner cannot change your mind for you. They can only guide you to that point where you realize it yourself. And unfortunately, this gentleman Robert didn't have anyone to guide him in that fashion, to maybe not tell him, hey, this is absolutely wrong, you shouldn't be eating this much ever and this often, and maybe you should develop some other outlets for your emotions than eating. And because at the end of the day, that's not the true answer, to eat to feel better. Like, that's probably the worst, and again, most convenient problem to be able to have. Just the fact that
you're living with a roof over your head, and the type of food you're eating has to be cooked and cultivated in very particular ways. But anyway, he took that victim mindset with him to the doctor, and it's only gotten worse. As the doctor said, he's been in the bed way too long. That's the same thing he was doing at home. Like, why even go somewhere else, rent the U-Haul truck again, which is amazing. Why even go to this doctor if you're not truly willing to change inside?
Get to a place where we won't be able to help you, and your body won't be able to go on, okay? Alright, I'll see you later.
Dr. Now lets him know that until he actually commits to working on himself, there's no way he's qualifying for the weight loss surgery.
Raj seems to be getting worse and worse. And his happiness has stalled. It's like somebody popped the lid.
Right, and we try to take shortcuts, but it's like he needs to still reach a baseline of general health to be able to qualify for the surgery, to be able to actually be accommodated with this convenience. So we think it's going to solve all our problems, but we still need a baseline of discipline and general discrimination.
It's making it hard for me not to break. There's been a few times that I've actually considered going home because nothing is working on my end. And now with him feeling the way he's feeling, I don't have the capacity to be positive for both of us. I'm having hard.
In the 9th month, Robert is staying in a long-term care facility and has been struggling with his mobility, leading to Catherine helping him with his physical therapy.
Back to the room.
Alright, give me a second. I'm gonna try to push the walk.
I know it's alright, Catherine. She is playing the role of trying to keep me up too. As well as yourself, I know it's tough on her. And I'm not trying to do that purposely on her. My life, revolves around her, but I like to play with her.
His body has gotten extremely weak due to Robert's lack of exercise, and things aren't looking great.
I woke up this morning, the best way I could play with, I was disappointed that I woke up. I really was hoping that it was just the most surreal night.
It's like, duh, you use it or lose it. These are universal principles. If you don't use something, it will regress. There's no such thing as being completely at rest or completely on the same level. Things are always moving, either up or down, progressing or regressing, right? And the way humans are designed, the way our joints, our spine is designed, it's designed in a way that motion, dynamic motion, sweating, keeping a baseline of fitness is good for us, and our body feeds off of it, and it craves exercise in a way to stay agile and stay loose, and our joints to be limber. These things are basic to our foundation.
Oh, so it's flat. I don't feel heavy. Look at it, I feel great. I'm taking her as well. Don't worry about it.
And I just can't believe that I've also. Last night he was getting ready to go. He said, please don't leave me tonight. I don't feel good. I want some of your way. So we were sitting there, and he was looking at me, and he said, I just want to let you know. He said, I don't think I'm going to make it through tonight. And I said, of course you're fine. You'll be fine. And he said, well, just in case. He says, just understand that I love you, and I always have. And we told him, I love you too. We laid down, we went to bed. Right around 6 o'clock, I hear him set himself up. I looked up, what's the matter? He says, the pain is in my back. And he started saying he felt like he was having trouble breathing. I was holding his hand. I said, sorry, just focus on me. And he just kept trying to get a breath in, and his eyes just went black, completely dilated out. And he just...
Damn. Yeah, it looks like he felt that he was not going to make it through the night. I mean, yeah, it's sad, but at the end of the day, I think she should ask herself, how much of a contribution did she make towards him staying alive? How much of, help was she in this journey, really? Was she aiding and abetting this essential bloody murder? Or, was she an advocate for him to increase his years?
Just began to fall back, and I held on with, no, please don't smack his hand, and please don't do this, I said, don't do this. I can't take myself, I said, I'm not watching this, no, I can't be watching this, and
and he suffered a heart attack that took his life.
I really feel like I'm just trying not to fall. Yeah.
The entire experience of witnessing his heart attack was overwhelming for Catherine, who was having a hard time dealing with the loss. Ow.
I hope his story will come out and show everybody who he was and how hard he had tried.
Yes.
And will be inspiration for it.
No, don't say that. He did not try hard. There's one thing that we saw was that he did not try hard. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Sunday Night Live, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, this is a sad thing, but unfortunately, we have to ask ourselves, living in the modern Western world, certain problems of our own doing. There's so many factors that could lead to, a short life, and most of it stems from when we have a certain level of comfort. Most of our problems will be self-inflicted, because to a certain extent the human soul tends to get bored and wants to enact some liveliness and adventure right into our lives. Due to being so comfortable, we seek that near-death experience. And I think what we just watched is one glaring example of such. Self-inflicted problems. And life would be so much easier if we, like I said, if we strive for higher, not to be a burden on people, but if we were able to provide for ourselves and other people rather than aiding and abetting, negative habits and ways of comforting yourself emotionally, and not addressing true issues and just accepting people for who they are and what they're doing instead of telling them the truth, we can't really advance and reach our full potential as humans if we develop these silly problems as a result of being able to be complacent, having no greater issues, right? Having no greater dealings and pursuits in life than, a relationship with someone or social media clout, this and that. I mean, we have a great convenience for the problems that we have. Like, your biggest problem is eating, like, of all things. You're literally giving yourself the problem over and over again. Anyway, hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed this session tonight, Sunday Night Live. I'm your host, AjTrainsalot. Thanks for being with me. Have a good night.